Hi, I'm Eric Grant, and today we're going to do a work on a double braid line, and we're going to create an eye splice from this double braid line. An eye splice basically means we're going to take the core and the sleeve and we're going to meld them together. Now, before you get started doing anything, we really need to create a butterfly knot down the length of the rope from the end that we're going to create our eye splice, about 10 to 15 foot down the length of the line. And what you want to do is create this special butterfly knot, and that gives you a purchase point in which you can later, in the later steps, actually the finishing steps, draw that the sleeve and the core and everything into itself, melded into itself. So first, what you need to do is learn how to do a butterfly knot, and that's what we're going to show you how to do first. And do that butterfly knot about 10 to 15 feet from the end of your line where that eye will be inserted. And we're going to create a butterfly knot here. A butterfly knot is pretty easy to do. All you need to do is just loop 3 cords in your hand, doesn't matter which hand you use, and then take the cord that's closest to your thumb here and put that cord in front. Now take the new cord that's closest to your thumb and have that go over the other two and down through the bottom. And then this is what you get. It's a nice knot, and it's easy to take out, and you can apply all kinds of pressure. So that's the butterfly knot. Before you get started with your eye splice, we've put a butterfly knot into the end of this rope, as you've seen earlier. But you want to do one thing first, and that is even out the core and the sleeve. It's important to do this because when you get to the end of your eye splice and you're trying to pull that sleeve up to the eyelet section, it can be very difficult if these ropes aren't evened out. So what we'll do is we'll actually sink the outer core all the way back to our butterfly knot. So grab the inner core and the outer sleeve. We'll sink it all the way back to basically where our butterfly knot starts. Bunch it all up to that point, all the way down to where the butterfly knot is. And then what we'll do, this evens out the line, so the inner core and the outer sleeve are both equal. Then what we'll do is we'll take that and we'll stretch it back. So we stretch out all the way to the butterfly knot. Keep doing that. Milk it all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. Milk it all the way to the end again. And what you're going to find is they're probably not even at the end. So they're not too bad. This one's actually pretty good. In some situations, you may find that the inner core is way out here, or the sleeve is way out here. And then what you'd find out is that when you do the last step, which is basically pulling the sleeve all the way up to the eye to sink everything in place, it is very difficult to do. So this is a good idea to do first before you get started doing anything. And what you do is basically take the excess. So if the sleeve were extended beyond here and the core were actually buried, we'd cut it right where the core stops. But since we're almost even, we're a little bit off, we're just going to cut it even. So if your core were right here, you would cut a little bit up of that. If your core is way out here, then you can just cut it basically right where the outer sleeve is. So we're going to cut it even here, and that makes everything even. And so we start at basically 0 point all the way up to our butterfly knot. So now we've got a nice even core. So what you need to do first off is determine how much of this core and sleeve needs to be tucked into the standing line. To determine that, it's a simple calculation. We're using a 3/8 inch diameter double braid nylon cord here. You can also use polyester. It really doesn't matter. The procedure is exactly the same. You want to multiply the diameter by 24. So for a 3/8 inch cord, you want to bury 9 inches of this cord inside of here. So basically we're going to measure up here 9 inches, and then we're going to start our process. If you had a 1/2 inch cord, multiply that times 24, and you would get 12 inches. So basically take the diameter, multiply it times 24, and that's how much you're going to start with as far as stuffing it inside. Now, the issue here is you want to stuff the appropriate length in there to basically cause enough friction that it will never pull out. So that's why you need to determine exactly how much you need to stuff in for the diameter of your line, because it works like a finger puzzle. If you've ever done those finger puzzles where you stick your finger inside the tube, the further down you go in the puzzle, and then when you pull tight, you can't get your fingers out. That's the process here. We're just creating enough friction that this won't pull apart. So the first step in creating your eye splice is basically to take that diameter, multiply it times 24, and for this 3/8 inch cord, we're going to measure up here 9 inches. Okay, so take our tape measure and measure up here from the end 9 inches, and that's right here. And then we'll take an awl and we'll pull one of these cords out with that awl. Okay, do this carefully. What you want to do is you want to pull the cord out from this end, not from this end. If you pull it out from the standing end, you could disrupt the way that this cord lies. So pull it out from the right end and just grab hold of it and pull from the end so we don't disrupt the way the cord lies or the braid lies. And there we go. So from here to here is 9 inches, and we pulled out one of the cords. Okay, our starting point's here. That's where the cord's going to get stuffed. Now we're going to determine the other side of our eye. So determine how big you want that eye. And then immediately opposite of this will be exactly where we want to start pulling out the core. So right across from that, let's do it like that so you can see it. So right across from that, we're going to pull the core out from that area if we want an eye about that size, which I think is a pretty good size. I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger here. Alright, so my eye is going to start right here across the other side of this, so we're going to lay that aside. And then we're going to take this and we're going to bend it sharply here. Like that. Then we're going to take our awl. If you work it a little bit, it actually helps to separate those things a little bit too. So we'll work it a little bit, bend it sharply. We'll take our awl and we'll separate the outer core, working in all 4 directions. You want to do this carefully so you don't hurt it. And you start to see the inner core right there. Now as soon as you see the inner core, you can grab it with the awl, and then release some of the pressure that you have on the rope already, because you want to take that out all at once. And you want to take it out from this end. And you also want to leave your awl in it, because that's the point where that eye is going to start. So we're going to leave our awl actually in it to mark it. Make sure that awl stays in there, and just pull it straight out. So there we go. So that's where our eye will begin. We pull the core out. Okay. Now we're going to stuff all of this into this sleeve, and by stuffing it all in the sleeve, we won't be able to get all of it in there. So we're actually going to do another calculation here. you want to take this tail end, which we calculated for this one is 9 inches from here to here, and you want to take a third of that, and so basically that would be 9, and a third of that is 3 inches. So from where we marked it with the awl, we're going to come down about 3 inches, which is right about there. What we're going to do there is we're going to take our awl out, because we aren't going to be able to stuff all the way up to that point, and we're going to take another one of these legs here. We don't want to disrupt the standing line here, so we're going to pull it out from the loose end there. So grab hold of that and do just like we did earlier. Make sure I get one here. Here's one. Pull that all the way out of that tail without disrupting the leg. Okay? So now you can disregard where that awl was before, which is 3 inches above that, and this is our new point right here. So we have that, and we have this. Okay? Okay, now we've got that done, and we pulled out our core, and we've marked the position where that by pulling out one of the yarns from there. And now we're going to measure down 14 times the diameter of your rope. This is a 3/8 inch rope, so 14 times would be 5.25. So from where that core exits out, we'll measure down 5.25 inches approximately, which is right here. And that, now, because basically we're going to meld this core into the sleeve, okay? And that's the next step. Okay, so again, let's go over this one more time. The diameter of your cord from here to here, so 14 times the diameter of your cord. That on the 3/8 inch cord is 5.25, okay? And then we're going to use the splicing wand, and this splicing wand was invented by Brian Toss, and he does a great job of working with ropes, probably better than I do by far. So if you really want to get some excellent instruction and video, you really should get it from Brian Toss's works, because he does a great job of this. Now you can use any other kind of splicing tool that you have. It will work the same. The principle works the same. This one's just a little bit easier to use and probably a little bit more fun. Okay, so we have that point marked. Now you can hold this wand underneath your arm. That's what Brian designed it for, and you can work from it like that, and that works fairly well, except for obviously you still have two hands, but it's definitely easier to take this wand and clamp it in a vise and use it that way. And I think that's what we might do here. I might do it the other way, but we'll decide here in a second. So let's move on, and we're going to show you how to stuff all of this into the sleeve. Okay, the splicing wand was designed to go in the vise. I'm going to keep this end up so I can see it. So my knob's actually going to be on this end for tightening it. So let me put it in the vise like that and lock her in place. Okay, now you don't want to stop. If you are actually going to put a shackle on there, now is the time to do it. If you don't do it now, then you're never going to get it on there. So make sure you put your shackle on now if you want a shackle to be inserted onto your rope. Otherwise, this is the point of no return. So remember to do that if you'd like to do that. Now we've already come down here. I've got my finger right where it should for where the splicing wand will insert into the rope here, and we're going to go through this rope and miss the core. You want to make sure you miss the core. My rope was 3/8 inch. That's 14 times this. That would be about 5.25 inches from the exit point of the core. So we'll take it into the splicing wand, and we'll go through that outer sleeve. Okay, so we put it on the end here, and then we'll actually take this and kind of pull some extra cord out and see how that bunches up the outer sleeve. Makes it easier for you to get that wand all the way through here. Now stop here when the wand's about here,
and hold on to this and see if you can pull your core. You can, without catching the outer sleeve. So we haven't caught any of the core. If I weren't able to pull this core out, it would mean that I've caught the core with the outer sleeve, and then you'd need to back up and redo it again. So we keep going down inside that center of the sleeve. Okay, we bring it all the way out to here, and then we stop here. Now we exit the splicing wand about 2 times the diameter of the rope beyond this thread. So that would be about, for a 3/8 inch rope, it's about 0.75 inches. So right about there, we exit the wand, and the wand should come out through the bottom. If that's where your core is coming out, it should come out on the same side as the core here. So the core is on the bottom, so we're going to exit the wand out through the bottom side of your sleeve. Okay? Now, what we do next is we release the splicing wand and reveal the snare by simply just pushing back on the splicing wand. So there's the snare, and what we'll do now is we'll take this end of the core here, and we'll take about half of the threads and put it in that snare. Reveal a little bit more snare. There we go. And take about half of them there. Put them through there. And then we'll sink it inside of the snare. Oops. Let me make sure that I'm not putting the rope out. So we'll sink that well inside of the snare. Okay. And then pull tight on this as we're going, and then tighten up the thumb screw on that. So that basically locks everything in place. Okay, so we've tightened that up. It's nice and tight. Okay, we have that fastened. Now we're just simply going to start bunching up the outer core. I'm sorry, the outer sleeve up there, and we're going to start taking it in through here. And the best way to do this, it's easy until you get to the part where the core is coming out, and it's a little bit more difficult. So what you want to do is kind of massage it around, and you'll find that it goes in quite easy. Rope loves to be massaged, so massage it quite a bit, and you'll find that it goes through quite well then. I should also say there's a flat spot here where the core isn't, so you should actually be working from that angle. So take your hand up here and massage. Here and massage. Here and massage. Keep going. There. Now release the splicing wand. And there we go. We got the core pulled through. Okay, here's what we've got so far after we pulled that core through there. And you can start to see the eye forming already. If you pull on this, you'll see that, hey, there's a pretty good looking eye. We just have to get this through there as well. So that's the next step. So I'm going to pull it apart again to where we were. Now, when we start to put this on, we really should taper this. In other words, take out some of the yarns in here. Otherwise, it won't be a nice, smooth transition. So what we'll do is where the core comes out here, we'll just come down a little bit right here at this tracer. We don't want to cut on the tracers, which are the colored lines. We actually just want to use those for reference. We want to just catch some of these threads in here. I'm going to catch both these threads, and I'm going to snip it. If we can catch them right there. I'm going to come around the back because I'm having a hard time doing this that way. Like that, and then we grab hold of them here and snip. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll just pull those out like that. And then we'll come around to the back side and do that again, cutting off 2 more yarns in about that same location. Pull it up and grab hold of it here, snip there, pull those out. Oops, I didn't cut that one all the way. Pull those yarns out. Okay, and then we'll come over here and do it one more time. So about these are kind of 2 yarns at once we're cutting. You want to do that about 3 times at each location here. Okay, and then we'll move up again to another tracer here and do it again. This will make for a smoother transition when we're doing this. Do it again here, that same spot. Okay, now come down here again and do it right about here. And then right down here. You can cut several down here and just pull them all out because they're easy to pull out now. Okay, and then down here we just cut some of these off and taper those a little bit too. Okay, these scissors aren't doing the job that I'd like them to do. There we go. Okay, that'll create a nice smooth transition.